Okay, restreaming shortly. Okay, great. Okay, restreaming shortly. All right, guys. Great. Let's kick off. Now, let me share screen quickly. Just confirming that everyone can see this. Oh. All right. Great. So, guys, thank you very much for joining. Everyone is here. Let's kick off now. So, just before we kind of get into the content for today, a quick TLDR about the dYdX community town halls. This is the 7th iteration of the town hall, and these sessions are really aimed at community members in the broader dYdX ecosystem, and they provide really relevant and timely updates and bring on important and key partners from the broad ecosystem. So they highlight some of the work they have been doing, are about to do, or have completed. We've mentioned this a few times, but we're committed to running these sessions every month for the foreseeable future. And we'd like these sessions to be interactive. So use the Q&A section, and someone from dYdX broader team will answer some of the questions that you might have. And at the end, there might be some time for Q&A as well. Now, as we know, it's a very exciting time for the dYdX ecosystem. So with the OpSub DAO announcing on Tuesday the launch of full trading, enabling trading rewards, Chaos Labs incentive program, and the continuation of staking rewards, it's definitely an exciting time. I think I've seen about 22K worth of USDC has been distributed in kind of the last 2 days. So really positive early signs of adoption, but also, very exciting times for the dYdX ecosystem at large. Now, just quickly before we get into it, I'll take you through the agenda. So first we have Nate from dYdX Trading. He's going to provide some highlights from the recent blog that they published, and talk about any software-related aspects related to the dYdX chain. Then we have Amar and Ori from Chaos Labs to talk through the 6-month launch incentive program, kind of give it a bit of a TLDR, but also give you an expectation of what to expect, where to find further information. They recently published a very detailed blog post. So there's quite a bit of information out there, and they'll simplify it for you guys. Then we've got Vishal from the Stride Labs team to talk through liquid staking. Also what you can expect with liquid staking on the dYdX chain. Then we'll pass it on to Valentin. I think you guys are familiar with Valentin now from the operations sub DAO. And he'll provide some updates related to the dYdX chain, but also some kind of critical updates related to the Ops sub DAO team, some new team members, also some open roles. Then we've got Carl from Grants, who's on this call as well. Fantastic. Thank you for joining, Carl. I know it's quite early for you. Carl's going to talk through some of the grants, recent grants progress, upcoming milestones, key grants to look out for, and the current proposal, which is live, which talks about social MEV mitigation strategies. Then last but not least, we've got David from the dYdX Foundation to talk about some topical foundation-related updates and what to look out for. Then if time permits at the end, we will have a Q&A, but as I mentioned, guys, these are more interactive sessions. Place your questions in the Q&A, and someone from the broader dYdX team should get back to you. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Nate.
Yeah, thanks, Tristan. As everyone knows, dYdX Trading is the company that is responsible for building the open source software behind the V4 or dYdX chain. So now that we're not operating the chain, it's been really exciting to see all these third parties come together, deploy the chain, and all these new developments come along within the last month. So I'm not going to talk too much about each of these in detail because Chaos Labs is here. They can explain their incentive program. The foundation is here to discuss various things as well as the sub DAO. But I'm just here to summarize the most exciting things that we've noticed on our end. So the first thing is obviously that full trading is live now on the dYdX chain. We have 8 active markets right now with more to come over the next few weeks. The Ob sub DAO will continue to share more updates on Twitter, but we will as well at dYdX. And we're just excited to offer more and more markets. And the goal is eventually on the dYdX chain, you should be able to trade anything and everything. So we're honestly thrilled that we're getting more and more in line with this goal over time. The other exciting update is that the trading rewards are active. So traders can earn up to 90% of their trades net trading fees when they use the dYdX chain. And roughly 50,000 dYdX tokens will be available per day, and rewards will be distributed to wallets directly after each successful trade. So on V3, we'd had epochs, and at the end of these epochs, we would distribute these token rewards, but now they're settled immediately. So that's very exciting as well. And Chaos Labs will dive into this more, but we have the launch incentive program, which is running for the next 6 months, where we have 20 million in incentives that will be distributed to traders based on a points-based system. So yeah, just a lot of opportunities to trade and trade profitably on the dYdX chain, more markets coming. And in terms of what's next, we're gathering product feedback so that we can improve the software and continue adding new features. So I think it's just full steam ahead. Extremely excited to see everything that's happening. All these third parties are working together to build, I think, a first-in-class product, but also a completely new decentralized trading experience. So we hope that everyone in the community is just as excited as we are. Yeah, and we'll just keep building.
Fantastic. And thank you for that, Nate. Just give me 1 second. The screen sharing just stopped for a minute. Okay. Yep, fantastic. Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Everyone can see my screen again, I'm assuming. Great. Fantastic. Thank you, Nate. Thanks for that update. Now let's move on. So we've got Omar and Ori from Chaos Labs to give us a little update about the 6-month incentive program.
Yeah, happy to kind of give an overview. So we'll walk through kind of the tenets of the program, the length of the program, and its goals. You don't have to remember everything I say on the call because we published a pretty comprehensive blog post where you can review everything at your leisure. So high level, dYdX chain is the innovative new version of dYdX. It's a standalone chain. And really one of our early goals in kind of proposing this launch incentive program is to really increase and improve the cadence and pace of users' migration from V3 or potentially other platforms onto the dYdX chain. So we're doing that with incentives. The program has up to 20 million in notional dYdX value earmarked for the program. We may use the whole, like the community may vote to use everything if it's needed, but hopefully we can be an effective catalyst for the migration with less. And the program is split into trading seasons. So there are about 4 or 5 trading seasons. It's based on the kind of the performance of the migration itself. Every trading season is between 4 and 6 weeks. And during that time, we observe on-chain volume that's executed by different traders. And basically your incentive share is going to be proportional to the amount of volume that you do. Within the program, there are several other pillars which we may look at to award in the future, such as staking and governance, but currently for the first trading seasons, they're set to 0. With that, the program is pretty straightforward. The only caveat here is we are monitoring very closely for wash trading. So wash trading is when users trade and kind of execute volume on the platform without taking on market risk. It's something that is not specific to dYdX, but prevalent in any kind of trading platform. So we monitor for those with the Chaos Labs Watch Trading module, and towards the end of each trading season, disqualify folks who have been flagged for doing so. So that's the high level program, kind of to assist and to have maximum transparency. We've also built a dYdX risk portal, which will be going live next week. And within the portal, you'll be able to see specific wallet trading history, open positions, historical positions, volumes on markets, fees accrued, and really everything that you'd expect to see on a platform like dYdX. So that's the high level overview.
Fantastic. Thank you, Omar. So what are really the next big things to look out for with the launch incentive program? I think there was potential discussion about maybe a community call next week where you can dive into the portal a bit more and highlight aspects of the leaderboard, or what are some things the community should look out for?
Yeah, definitely. So next week, we're going to have a community call focused on the portal, which I previously mentioned. If you've ever seen a chaos product in terms of the depth, you're going to have all the things that you'd expect to see. So the ability to see aggregate metrics of dYdX, wallet positions, market positions, liquidations. But really what's important for the incentive program is the dedicated leaderboard tab. And here, this is a dedicated surface to be able to see the projected points accrued for every trader based on volume in near real time. So folks that come in, they can keep on refreshing the page based on the volume that they're doing and see how they're doing in comparison to their peers, how many points have been accrued, and the points should translate directly into rewards that are distributed at the end of the epoch. So that is going to be next week. We're going to walk through everything. It's going to be recorded, and there'll be essentially a video tutorial where anybody can kind of reference the portal to understand all of the good sections within it.
Awesome. That sounds really exciting. Thank you. Now let's move on to Vishal to talk about liquid staking. Vishal. I can't hear you at the moment, Vishal. I'm not sure if anyone else is having that challenge.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much for the intro, James. Really appreciate it. A little bit of context on Stride Labs and what we do. So Stride Labs is the one core contributor to the Stride protocol. The Stride protocol is an independent blockchain that provides liquid staking to many different Cosmos blockchains. So if you're familiar with Lido or Marinate or Jito and other ecosystems, you can think of Stride as kind of those type of liquid staking providers before the Cosmos. But instead of being a standard like smart contract based deployment that a lot of other liquid staking protocols take, Stride is its own blockchain. And the reason it does this is the blockchain itself is able to open accounts on chains like dYdX or the Cosmos Hub or Osmosis, and is able to send funds to those accounts, stake them, unstake them, etc. You can do a really high quality, scalable liquid staking solution in this manner. Stride has 10 different LSTs today in Cosmos, has around 90% market share in the Cosmos LST space. And we're really excited for dYdX. It's been really high in our roadmap for a long time. I've been an incredibly happy user of dYdX for many years now, and really excited to see Stride kind of come live on dYdX soon. Maybe digging in a little bit on the Stride architecture and what it means for dYdX and how this might really help unlock some additional utility for the dYdX token. So because the Stride blockchain is its own sovereign blockchain that doesn't really do anything except for liquid staking, we can do all sorts of really exciting and safe things in the protocol that are harder to do other systems. So two quick examples of this. At the beginning of every single block on the Stride blockchain, we run through a series of accounting and health checks. And if any of those checks seem off, in the case of like an exploit or a bug, we can actually just halt functionality until someone comes in and or developers come in and can verify everything's okay, and the validators can approve any sort of fixes to take place. This has never happened before, but in the worst case event, like some sort of attack, we have a lot of protections kind of built into the chain. There's lots of other things we can do on the chain layer itself. But one quick example is, even though stdYdX will be a new product, it's the exact same code that's been deployed on Atom and Osmosis and Injective and so many other chains for over a year now. So we get all sorts of linearness from these previous deployments, including 5 audits and counting. So there's lots of focus that we do on safety. The Stride chain kind of prides itself in being a really minimal and secure blockchain. Those are two core focuses. One additional kind of key benefit from being a protocol as opposed to a smart contract is the Stride protocol doesn't really have an admin multisig that can do any sort of like serious functions like take user funds or do anything that's really malicious. And the validator set's always sovereign over any sort of action on the chain. So even if attacker came in, the validator sets can always kind of resume optimal functionality. With that out of the way, maybe let's talk a little bit about how dYdX it could be used and why we're really excited about it and maybe what next steps are. So we're incredibly excited about dYdX. Two main things that we think could be really, really cool here. One is because dYdX accrues a ton of real yield, this makes it really unique in all of crypto. And the dYdX should become the largest real yield backed LST in all of crypto. I think this is a really compelling narrative and makes dYdX really high quality collateral and things like we want to mint a stablecoin, you want to deposit as collateral on lending protocol, or even just LP on AMM. You get all sorts of any sort of use case you might want to think of for dYdX. You can have even better, or you can accrue yield while using those tokens, but you can use them all throughout DeFi. In particular, one thing we're really excited about is we really want to use dYdX on Ethereum DeFi as well. So think of all the standard places that your favorite protocols use the dYdX token on Ethereum. We're working on integrating dYdX into those as well. So you can use dYdX kind of anywhere that's accepted. And then if any of your favorite protocols that use dYdX on don't have dYdX integrated, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to work on integrating into kind of any and all protocols. This is something that's incredibly exciting for us and we think can really change the whole landscape of not only Cosmos, but crypto in general, having this real yield back token. In terms of next steps, so as part of just to show how excited Stride is about this, Stride's going to do an airdrop to anyone who mints dYdX within the first 2 months of the product going live. So when dYdX launches, if you liquid stake your dYdX with Stride, and you hold it for 31 days, you'll be eligible for one of this 250,000 Stride airdrop, just something like 300 to 400,000 US dollars. It should be really exciting and can give help people get accustomed to dYdX and what the mechanics of it are. One more kind of quick thing to flag about dYdX that might be interesting to people as they think about if they should stake natively on the chain or liquid stake through Stride. Or two things. One is Stride's working really closely with dYdX community members to pick a really good decentralized validator set. So if you're ever worried about which validator should I delegate to, will that validator get slashed? dYdX has a distributed set. And so there's, you're delegating to high quality validators and the chance of getting slashed is distributed amongst them. The other kind of interesting thing that might differentiate dYdX from regular staking is when you regularly stake dYdX, all the revenue is paid out in USDC. For dYdX, that USDC gets automatically converted to dYdX and restaked. So you don't have to worry about claiming your rewards in USDC and staking them and managing that position. The dYdX will automatically recompound everything. So you just keep building up your dYdX position. We're working pretty closely with dYdX Trading and a few members in the community to go through all the kind of measures in place in the Stride protocol, make sure it's safe and secure and meets the standards that the dYdX chain holds for itself. And we're hoping to push after all that, all those checks go through. We should launch dYdX in January of 2024, pending no issues being found. So we're really excited about that. And as we work closer with the community to figure out a good initial set of validators, we'll post more details in the dYdX forum to make sure the whole community is on board with the validators that Stride delegates to and is really comfortable and excited about what Stride can offer.
Fantastic. Thank you. So one more quick question, Vishal, just in terms of we can see a screenshot there about how to liquid stake. Also assuming as we get closer towards that potential January launch, we could host another community call which walks through people through the process and kind of what to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone wants to take a look before January, if you hold any Atom, Osmo, Injective, or kind of any Cosmos token, you can go to stride.zone and try liquid staking. It's relatively fast. It only takes you one transaction in your wallet. And they're always working to make it a little bit faster. But we'll put out a special guide just for dYdX when dYdX comes live, and it should be very simple, just kind of one transaction you enter in your wallet, or you can go buy dYdX on the DEX. They're be relatively straightforward to get access to it. And even if you're on Ethereum DeFi, you can also just buy dYdX on Uniswap or anywhere there, and you'll immediately start accruing the same yield as if you're on Cosmos.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking us through that. Now let's move on to Valentin from the Ops Sub DAO. So Val, take it away.
Hi. Thank you for the introduction. We have been quite busy at the Ops Sub DAO. A couple of milestones hit in the last month. Since we last spoke, so to speak, there was the successful genesis of the dYdX chain, which we had to coordinate with the genesis set of validators. I wanted to say a special thanks to that genesis set. The validator set since has been grown quite substantially, which is great to see. And now, since a couple of days, we're fully live with dYdX.trade, and full trading is enabled, as Nate has mentioned. And this, for us, is really important that the community-owned infrastructure, the trading front end, and the indexer are live and operational. That was kind of one of our main goals for the DOT 2.0. So we're really happy that this all worked out, and we're continuously working on it to have it available and improve it over the time. Internally, we have a couple of changes, or not changes, but we brought on a new community governance associate. He will help out in the forum moderation a lot. Stan, some of you might already have interacted with him. He launched a code of conduct rehaul and requested feedback from the community on how the code of conduct should look. So we're going to publish that sometime next week. Also, in the trust, there have been a couple of changes. As you surely have seen, that two trustees have left the operations trust. Flipside Crypto has left, and also Callan from Wintermute have stopped being trustees, mainly for their own personal reasons. So Callan for personal reasons, and Flipside for company reasons. So we are now officially looking for new trustees to fill their shoes. Please go on to our website, dYdXopsDAO.com, sorry. And you can see the job description there and can submit an application there. On the dYdX chain, I think we're really happy to see already 2 million blocks have passed. Block time is roughly a second, and the trading volume is already over 60 million. I just looked at the live stats, so we're really happy to see that. Yeah, that was a very quick update. And
fantastic. Thank you, Val. One more quick thing. Notice that started with 4 markets. Now there's another 4. So that's pretty quick. So 8 markets, so 4 markets at first, another 4 markets added the next day. Is there any high-level plans of when more markets could be added, potentially in the next week to 2 weeks, or is it kind of see how things go and add them over time?
We will see how things go and add them over time. This is depending on how many people move over to V4 basically, and how much activity there is to kind of, if we are able to add more markets. But as soon as we think the V4 is, or the chain is ready, then we'll add the markets.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, man. Now let's move on to Carl, the Grants Sub DAO.
Hey, thanks, Tristan. Yep, I'm Carl from Reverie. I help run the dYdX grants program along with a few other contributors. Robo and McKay, the community grantors, couldn't make it today for different reasons, unfortunately, so you'll just be hearing from me. For anyone new on this call that hasn't heard from me before, the grants program is a community-funded initiative to promote the growth and development of the dYdX protocol and ecosystem through community contributors. So it's a pretty standard grants program. Since our latest extension in September, which was extended for another 6 months. We've now funded 15 new grants with over 1.2 million in funding. And we have around 1.6 million left in funding to allocate in the remaining months. So it's been a pretty busy period, but it's getting even busier now. These grants include funding Chaos Labs to run the incentives program, who's here today, supporting MintScan for custom features on the Explorer via Cosmos Station, data services with Numia, who I recommend you check out their Lenses platform, and also just start querying data for V4 using their BigQuery engine, which is really awesome. New wallets, multi-sig, an MPC wallet, trading clients. You should see a few of those pop up as well to help onboard programmatic traders and market makers, and then a few other initiatives, but a lot of really exciting stuff that you can find on our website. Overall, more generally, things have really kicked up in activity with the launch of trading, and now especially the full trading launch. We're seeing kind of a really renewed growth and interest in contributing to dYdX, which is really cool. And we're expecting that to keep growing even more now that kind of activity picks up, on-chain data picks up, and there's just a lot more to play around with on V4 and a lot more to build on top of. And so we're expecting kind of grants to continue moving at a quick pace here and really pick up. What is it that we're focusing on? We're targeting more initiatives and tools that help promote the growth of liquidity, user adoption, and ecosystem growth at the moment. So, you know, we've seen trading kick up, but we feel like maybe there's an opportunity for grants to play a role in helping drive additional liquidity. And then we also, another initiative, and as kind of Tristan mentioned, we also submitted a governance proposal, which is live right now, to launch a social strategy for mitigating MEV on V4. So a quick reminder there, the goal is to appoint a committee that's going to be funded through the grants program of qualified contributors to help monitor MEV activity using the dashboard built by Skip. And they're going to do this kind of proactively on a weekly basis. And if there are any sort of malicious activity or behavior is found, then they will submit recommendations for retroactive action on behalf of the community. So we're just hoping to mitigate any sort of funny business from our validator set when it comes to MEV infractions. If you haven't already, please do participate in the vote. We obviously love to see participation already, but please submit a vote. And yeah, I think that's about it. We have just really exciting time. We'll have a lot more to share in our monthly blog post, which will be out next week. As always, if you're interested in contributing, building something, sharing an idea, please give us a shout on Discord or submit an application on dYdXgrants.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Carl. Now, passing on to last but not least, David from the Foundation to give a Foundation and dYdX ecosystem update.
Hey everyone. For those of you who aren't familiar with the dYdX Foundation, we're the nonprofit entity whose mission is to support and grow the dYdX protocol by enabling communities, developers, and decentralized governance. Tristan spoke at the start of the call about how exciting this time is for the broader dYdX ecosystem. Obviously, we're a little bit more than a month after the launch of the dYdX chain, and we're really starting to see a lot of activity pick up. I want to spend a little time talking about the migration from the Ethereum dYdX protocol to the dYdX chain and some notable developments over the last few weeks. So just to hit on a few, I think it's really encouraging to see kind of the full migration of the community and rewards treasury programs from Ethereum to the dYdX chain. I think this is generally not talked about nearly enough in kind of social circles, but if you take a step back, over 31% of the total supply of ETH dYdX was bridged over to the dYdX chain, which is really, really massive. About 80 million of that sits in the community treasury on the dYdX chain side. This can be used to fund new opportunities like seeding the insurance fund or other growth programs more broadly. and really is in the hands of the dYdX chain governance community on how to deploy that capital in a productive manner. In addition to that, there's 227 million tokens that were earmarked on the Ethereum side for trading rewards and LP rewards, that through governance have been wound down and minted on the dYdX chain. Those rewards now fund the trading rewards program on the dYdX chain side, and also can be used for other additional incentives based on dYdX chain governance more broadly. But that's really a huge amount of capital that sits in the hands of the community to figure out how to grow the protocol on a sustainable basis. The second kind of major development is obviously the protocol has now moved out of this post launch phase. There was a 2-week alpha period and a 2-week beta period, and as of earlier this week, the protocol is in full production mode. Right, so all of the pieces are now in place. Trading rewards, staking rewards, everything is flowing, and ultimately we're starting to really see a pickup in activity since earlier in the week. I think Valentine mentioned some stats. I've been checking many dashboards and on-chain metrics kind of religiously, but I think as of a few hours ago, we were at 60 million or so in cumulative volume, and on a daily basis, continuing to see kind of new all-time highs. In addition to that, again, USDC rewards are flowing to validators and to stakers as the activity on the chain does pick up. I encourage everyone here to really look at all of the information that is available. Everything is on chain or available to be queried via the indexer. I will say, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Cosmos ecosystem, it is a kind of a different infra stack, and understanding how to query data is kind of at times challenging, but all of the information is there. You just need to know where to look for it. I do know there's kind of a number of community-driven dashboards that are in the works. Chaos Labs mentioned kind of a risk analytics portal. There's kind of a screenshot here of some of the dashboards that they've been working on and planning to share with the community at large, and that'll help provide some visibility. The other kind of one to flag for the community is Numia, which is a grantee, is really indexing a lot of this on-chain data to make it more queryable for users. And I think there's a lot of interesting data that can be pulled from there to be able to track all of these metrics. Other one to kind of call out is just the pace of activity on the governance side on the chain. I think today, we've seen 3 governance proposals, 2 of which have passed and 1 that is currently live. Again, governance on the dYdX chain is different than kind of in the Ethereum ecosystem. Only staked tokens can participate in voting, and validators inherit your voting right unless you self-delegate and vote on your own behalf. But I think it's really important, especially for all the attendees on this call who take the time to be engaged with the community, to really be active in voting and participate in live votes. I think I personally expect kind of the velocity and pace of governance votes on the dYdX chain side to be much faster than on the Ethereum side. And so really engaging with the forums, participating in governance is really a call to action for everyone. On the bridging and staking side, again, we're about 6 weeks into kind of the launch of the chain. So far, about 44% of ETH dYdX has been bridged over via the wrapped ETH dYdX smart contract that was approved by dYdX governance. And of that, about 19 million dYdX has ultimately been staked to validators. I think it's worth just taking a step back that between the 44 kind of of dYdX bridged, plus the 22.7% of the community and treasury investor contracts that have been bridged over, a total of 67% of the total supply of dYdX has effectively bridged over within 6 weeks of launch. I think this is frankly a pretty big milestone as we think about really migrating the user base, liquidity, security from Ethereum to the dYdX chain. This is just a massive development over the course of the last 6 weeks. I do expect this number to continue to increase over time. Again, now that there's trading activity and full production on the chain and staking rewards kind of increasing, I think we'll continue to see the amount of tokens bridged over and ultimately bonded to validators continue to increase. There's kind of a natural chicken and egg problem here around just bootstrapping a new network. But generally speaking, pretty happy with kind of where we are and excited for what's ahead. In terms of the token unlock, obviously there's been a ton of questions about this on social media, on our Discord. The dYdX Foundation published a blog post yesterday providing kind of more details around the first unlock of locked investor tokens. I encourage everyone to really read that document. It has all of the main kind of facts. I will say there's quite a lot of misinformation out there, and so just making sure that you're sticking to the source of truth and checking kind of sources. I encourage you to check out that blog post. On the education side, again, a big focus for the foundation continues to be around education and making sure that users are engaging with the product in various ways. And so we've published a number of guides on our website explaining to users how to bridge, how to stake, how to vote, how to onboard USDC. We'll continue to build out kind of this documentation over time, but the goal is really to build a portal of guides and resources for community members to be able to bridge and use the product. If you have any ideas or gap on areas that you think we can improve these guides or want kind of additional information on really anything, feel free to ping any member of the team. And then lastly, just a broad call to action. Again, this is a really, really exciting milestone for the dYdX ecosystem. We're in the very early days of the launch of a chain where the infrastructure can scale really massively. I think the product is great. There's definitely room for improvement. There's definitely some bugs that will get fixed over time. And so, the ask here is use the product, test it, give feedback, share your ideas. Really, this is an open source protocol. It's only as strong as really our community. And so I encourage everyone to participate in governance on our forums, participate on Discord, and really help make the dYdX protocol, the next big thing if it isn't already. Lastly, just beware of scams. We continue to see a lot of people impersonating members of different dYdX teams or entities or groups. There's a lot of scams on Twitter announcing kind of airdrops. Beware of malicious links. Really stick to official sources of information before engaging. And yeah, just be aware that there are scammers in this industry, and we're continuing to do what we can to try to mitigate that where we can.
Fantastic. Thank you, David. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, David, but just in terms of, so there's a question here around how do you entice or how do more people end up staking? Just from a staking rewards point of view, this could be correct data, but correct me if I'm wrong, David, there was about $1,000 USDC of rewards before full trading. And I think since full trading, which has been maybe 2-ish days now, probably 2 full days now, what's it at now? 23K USDC. So the staking reward aspect is really ramping up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's I can't give people kind of specific numbers here, but I do know there's kind of a number of dashboards that are getting developed to be able to track this more easily. Staking rewards are live. Again, there's different types of rewards. There's trading fees that are denominated in USDC, and then there's gas fees that are either denominated in USDC or in dYdX, and all of those make up protocol fees that end up flowing to validators and to stakers. Ultimately, APRs have kind of 2 inputs. One is the amount of protocol fees that are generated, and then the second is how many tokens are bonded to validators. And so those figures obviously will change kind of over time as there's more activity on the chain. But hoping, I think the dYdX Foundation will be publishing a deep dive blog post later today, really helping to explain fees more broadly. So hopefully there's kind of more information there to answer kind of any questions. But then, our expectation is that more front ends and UIs will be able to display this information more programmatically in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you. So that takes us to the end of the town hall, guys. I just want to check if there's any open questions that anyone could answer. Just got one from Husmand. Are there talks upcoming support with SEX on the dYdX chain deposits withdrawals? Maybe David, you can talk to that. I'm not sure that we have anything to mention, but
yeah, I think I'm happy to start to address some of the questions that are in the chat live. And anyone on the call, feel free to jump in as well. So Husband has a question: are there talks of coming support with centralized exchanges on dYdX chain deposits and withdrawal? Generally speaking, again, the dYdX chain is fully open source. It's fully composable. I think we're in the very early days of having infrastructure and ecosystem players integrate to the chain. I think a big stakeholder in our industry are clearly centralized exchanges. I think a big kind of unlock for the success of the dYdX chain is really helping to support or unlock the onboarding experience, especially for USDC, which is the main form of collateral on the chain. So with the launch of kind of the Noble chain and Noble USDC, I think there's a lot of centralized exchanges that are currently exploring whether or not to support native deposits and withdrawals of Noble USDC to be able to support kind of a better onboarding and offboarding flow. I think those discussions are progressing. Noble also recently just launched. I think they have maybe 5 to 20 million in TVL, and their users and deposits are growing. And so showing kind of that those early signs of tractions are, broadly speaking, helping discussions with centralized exchanges. But I think this will continue to be a focus for the broader team and various players in the industry, is just better integrations on this side. Let's see.
That's it. And then there's a question around grants, but Josh and Javier have pointed the team to the website where they provide frequent updates about grants. Also, dependent on the different kind of grant or request, there is quite often YouTube or Twitter Spaces. I know KS Labs was just recently on one. So I'd encourage everyone for more visibility on grants to go to the website, but also Robbo, McKay, and the team provide monthly updates on the forum. So I'm not sure that I see any more questions. Might wait one more minute. Great. I think that we'll probably wrap it up now, guys. So thank you very much for joining. As I mentioned at the start, a really, really exciting time for the dYdX ecosystem and broader ecosystem partners. I mean, we saw the launch of Ledger Live support yesterday. CCTP with Circle and Noble is really big. Really great from a user's perspective as well. And kind of as David alluded to, it's been 2 days since full trading has really launched, and now we're starting to see activity ramp up, but also a lot of partners really integrate and improve the customer and user experience. So thank you very much for joining, guys, and looking forward to hosting the next session in the next couple of weeks. Thank you, guys.